Welcome back, adventurer, to the Crooked Cleric, where the ales are great, but the tales are greater. Come to be enraptured by another of my fantastic tales. I knew you'd be back. Lucky for both of us, I was just recalling one of my favorite gems, when my DM banned the lucky feet from her table, and then banned me. This is one of my personal favorites, so grab a mug, take a seat, and let us begin. This story of DM pettiness is quite close to my heart, as it comes from my first real D&D campaign I ever took part in. I had been in a one-shot before, nothing else though. As per the lay of the land, all names used here are of course fake. Sara, the group's forever DM who let me join her game late. Very heavy DM versus player mindset. Myself, Aasimar Fighter Barbarian with a heavy focus on ranged combat. I know rage doesn't enhance ranged weapons, but the DM had a nasty habit of targeting me, so I wanted to get the resistances. These are really the only important characters in the story, even though our party was quite large, at 8-ish or so. I'll refer to any others simply as their class. Just know that we were all level 14 at the time, and I was the only one with the lucky feat. The game itself was a D&D 5e game with a sci-fi setting and premise. Other systems probably would have been better, but we all lacked the time to learn a new tabletop system. Our quest had brought us to a sort of nightclub, where we were looking for someone, but since my character was dumb as a bag of hammers, she and the monk were off drinking an exorbitant amount at the bar. Come to think of it, I should have noticed how smug Sara was about my character getting noticeably intoxicated, and how eager she was to get them to continue drinking, but eventually the monk and my fighter barbarian were completely wasted. It was shortly after this that the main party managed to anger and provoke the mobsters guarding the nightclub, and combat ensued. When it was my turn, Sara gleefully informed me that since my Aasimar was so drunk, she couldn't use her ranged weapons at all, and that I had disadvantage on everything besides strength-based skills, so athletics. I confusedly asked her if the drinks were poisoned, but she just reminded me that my character shouldn't have drank so much. So, being physically unable to use any of my ranged weapons, and being told I'd suffer disadvantage on literally anything else, I started making grapple checks. Because I had applied the skill expert feat to my athletics, and the DM gave me advantage on athletics checks due to my intoxication, no mobster was safe. On the rare occasions I failed, I would use a point of my lucky feat to succeed, Sara getting audibly more annoyed each time at how unstoppable I had become. And this culminated in my Aasimar being able to suplex the boss through the counter for a huge damage bonus while the party cheered. The session ended pretty soon after that, and as others were disconnecting from the Discord channel, Sara asked me to stay so I could talk to her. She told me rather angrily that I needed to find another feat instead of Lucky, as Lucky was no longer allowed at her table because of how broken it clearly was. I tried telling her that, frankly, her outrageous intoxication penalties that were meant to make my character useless were the problem, and not me being able to re-roll 3 times. But she wasn't having it. After a while of me trying to make my case and saying I didn't want to change my feat to arbitrarily nerf myself, Sara told me I was no longer welcome at her table and quickly booted me from the Discord server. I went without D&D for a few months after that. But thankfully, it was around then that my friend Mike started DMing, so I could still get my fix. Sara later tried to get me to come back so my Aasimar could inexplicably be the BBEG of that campaign, but I wanted no part of it. For clarification, I joined the campaign late, but the events of this story were much farther down the line. I had been in the game for roughly 8 months or so by this point, and Lucky had not been a problem until this event. And that is where our story ends. So, adventurer, did it quench your thirst for entertainment? I knew it would. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out, as it really helps this old cleric. We'll be seeing ya!